Hello and be welcome to yet another episode of our Let's Develop Conway's Game of Life with our season about developing the game loop. As you might remember, in the last episode, I've added handling for inputs. So we now have our input handler here in the game loop, and it pulls the input in every loop iteration and passes it to the update of the game so that the game can react on the user input. The next thing I want to tackle is the timing issue I've been rambling about for the last few episodes, that this game loop is actually a problem on faster computers because the loop is executing as fast as the machine can go, so the game will be harder on faster machines and easier on slower machines, which we seriously want to avoid. Probably. Anyways, this will require me to introduce some more logic into the game loop. Namely, I want to skip this update step here in case the loop was too quick. Whereas I can repeat the rendering because that just means that our screen is refreshed more often, which is usually what we want to have. So I need some timing logic here. Some people actually start doing that with saying new date time or new date is it or whatever. Creating a new date instance or getting the current millis from the system class. But this is really a problematic thing because it's really difficult to manipulate and control these timing things in tests. And since we're doing test-driven development, we really want to control the time in tests. So in a way that does not make our tests fragile. So what we're going to introduce is some timer object we're going to pass into our game loop as a dependency, which returns us the time value and which we can stop away in the test to control the time. Anyways, before we get started with that, there's something else bugging me. Namely, that we some time ago coded some condition, some test condition in our test stub, namely this one here. We encoded here the condition that the number of renders is or should be equal to the number of updates minus 1. We did that to ensure that update is called before render. Thing is, if I'm going to implement the feature I just explained to you and I'm going to skip the update call here, this condition is not holding anymore, so this is going to throw a render exception. And there's really nothing I can do about that right now because either I keep this condition here, which is necessary for the order test, where is it, invokes render after update for this test here to check what it's supposed to check, which implies that my new test will always fail, or I check this condition in order to make my new test pass, but will thereby invalidate my old test. So what I really want to do is somehow move this additional check here into the setup of only this one test where this condition actually holds. Unfortunately, I've been a little eager to clean up my tests by pulling out this before method here, which does all the setup. And now this comes back at me because I'm no longer easily able to create different test stubs for different tests, which again implies that I'm going to revert that change and actually put these fields here back into the individual test methods so that I can control the test inputs. Unfortunately, there's no automated refactoring for that, I think, which means I'm going to do that manually. Test input handler and the game loop of test input. Let me quickly copy that part and paste it everywhere. If I add that to every single test, everything should be in the same state as it was before, so all tests should be passing. That was all tests. The fields are not used anymore. I'm going to rerun the tests. They're still working, so I can remove those fields. Okay, and now I can do something. I can replace this. Okay, let me put it another way. I want to remove this check here and place it instead in only this test. And I'm going to make this the following way. I'm going to override the render method in this particular test. And I'm going to add here this very check. And then call the super method. So the test should still run. If I switch the order, the test should fail. Indeed, it does. It should still fail, but only that one test actually. If I remove the check here, yes, now only the order test is failing and not the other ones. And if I move that stuff back into order, even the last one test should pass. Okay, now I have the condition really in the test where I want it to be. Something else that came to my mind in the meantime is that this kind of check I implemented here with a custom exception is actually quite unnecessary, because what I can do is just an assert equals of number of renders and number of updates minus 1. Of course, I need to import assert equals. And then I can rerun the test. That's still working. Do the same thing again, change the order so the one test fails. It does now fail with the assertion actually telling me the values. And now I can throw out this one, which still makes our test fail, and I'm going to correct it so everything's green again. That's much nicer because we really see now easily that this is an assertion, and we can get rid of this additional class here without any problems. Recompile, working, fine. Okay, now let me have a quick check. Do I have other things like this in the tests? No, doesn't look like it. Okay, so we're actually ready to start implementing the timing logic that I've been rambling about so much.